Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at this Apple Newton MessagePad 2000. Coming from the year 1997, the unit's in a bit cosmetically rough shape, but electrically it seems to work perfectly. That is, except for the internal rechargeable battery. Well, thankfully that battery is removable, pops out right from the side here. And inside this battery are 4 LR6 or AA sized rechargeable batteries. And I'm not surprised after over 25 years that this battery is no longer holding a charge. And what's even more dangerous is leaving it inside of the message pad will probably lead to internal corrosion. So at minimum, we want to get these battery cells out, but what I'd like to do is replace them. 4 brand new Eneloop style batteries, not a sponsor, but actually seemed like a pretty appropriate choice. One thing I liked about these batteries versus a lot of the other AA size batteries is that they have a claimed recharge cycle capacity of over 2,000 recharge cycles, which is pretty substantial. They are 2,000 milliamp hours, which is a little bit more than the original battery pack. I think this one tops out at around 1,200 milliamp hours, but hopefully we'll be able to maybe see some markings on these cells once we get this battery open. So to get this battery open, however, there's really no way to get inside of this without, completely destroying the case. And conventional wisdom might lead you to want to separate it along the edge in which it's been glued together. But we can actually see that they've kind of sanded this down along this edge here. And I suspect that cutting in on either of the sides is going to lead to this battery, 1, probably not going back together, or 2, just not fitting back into the unit properly. So I've actually come across a guide that is rather old, and one of the recommendations that the guide has is to actually cut into the top of the battery. I guess this could be the bottom here with these contacts, but cutting a small rectangled window into the top of here should allow us access to the battery cells inside. And I'm not sure if I'll need to put this piece of plastic back on. Seems like there's enough mechanical strength to hold this into the unit without needing to replace that, but we'll see. And yeah, so I think the first thing to do is to go ahead and start cutting into this battery and see what we can see. So for cutting into the battery, here I have a little bit closer shot. I'm actually going to be using a box cutter with a brand new blade on it. And the reason I'm going to do that is that I think I'll be able to cut into this a little bit more cleanly, and one of the things with the Dremel is that it's very easy to go too far and possibly cut into one of the battery cells, short something out, and it's going to take a little bit longer, and of course the sharp blade here will be a little bit dangerous, but I'm just going to go very slowly around this edge and start cutting into this plastic, and hopefully I'll be able to get this off. So probably do this part a little bit off camera, but I'll try to include as much footage of that as I can. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see, I've started cutting along this edge here with the box cutter, and just getting a very thin line to act as a guide so that, as I continue cutting a little bit deeper, the blade doesn't slip, but I think this is looking pretty good so far. So I'm going to keep on cutting around this edge just very slowly with the box cutter. I don't want to cut too far into here because, of course, there are some electronics on the inside of this battery and, of course, battery cells themselves. Fortunately, the batteries are basically dead. They will only power the message pad here for about 30 seconds, and I believe it's already depleted. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and continue cutting into this, and hopefully we'll have this lid off. Okay, so after about 30 minutes of carefully running this box cutter here along this edge, I think it's about ready to come free. So I'm just going to take my spudger here and just work it along this edge. And yeah, we can start to see some of the green from those cells on the inside. So hopefully this will just pop right off. And I might need a little persuasion. I don't want to cut too deep into this plastic. So yeah, and I can already see a lot of crusty in there. So there's a good deal of battery corrosion. So we'll definitely want to clean that up once I'm able to get this open and the cells removed. Okay, so after working the spudger here along this edge really carefully, this cover is starting to remove, and I can see those crusty battery cells inside. And looks like this is still on a little bit on this side, so I'm just going to use the box cutter here and just score this a little bit more. Don't want to crack the plastic if all possible. So I'm just going to run this very gently on here. And it's okay if I touch the cells on the inside. I don't think that's going to short anything out, and they're dead anyway. I think the main thing was just making sure that we didn't cut into one of the cells with a Dremel, because that would certainly spew that battery acid all over the place. Okay, let's see if that makes that a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and get the spudger back in here. All right. Okay, so yeah, that was it. Just needed to cut a little bit more along this edge here. So here we go, first reveal, and yeah, those are those are some crusty battery cells. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully remove these, and of course properly dispose of these in e-waste, and hopefully clean up the inside of this battery. Okay, so I think we'll take this tape off of this, I'm guessing this is probably a thermistor here. And not that we need to save this tape or anything. We'll put some fresh tape on that once we're done. So yeah, this looks like our thermistor here. So I'll move that out of the way. And yeah, well, I guess we'll have to figure out how to get these out of here without cracking this plastic. So I don't know, let's see if these batteries want to move at all. A little bit from that direction. Let's see, I wonder if we can get them in the middle. Ooh. Yeah. And did slice into the protective casings on the battery, but not into the metal itself. So, yeah, let's see. It's kind of prying out, but this is going to get messy really quickly. Let's see if I can get this side to separate. Doesn't exactly want to. Man, these batteries are in a bad way. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this until I can get these batteries out of here and report back. Okay, well, yeah, this is, wow, this is quite the mess. I probably should have worn gloves, but a little too late for that now. And, yeah, these cells are, I'm genuinely surprised these would power the Newton for even a few seconds. These cells are toast. Holy moly. I don't know if I've really ever seen even nickel metal, even nickel cadmium batteries this bad. But yeah, hopefully, and I believe there's a component that connects these two cells together that we want to salvage if we can. But to be honest, I am not sure that's salvageable. Okay, so yeah, those are the cells, and yeah, you can just really see everywhere that they are just so corroded. Definitely should not be touching this with my hands. I am taking this to the sink and my hands to the sink in just a second here. But yeah, these battery cells have seen better days. So I'm going to go ahead and wash this out, get rid of all of this. You can see all of that flaky corrosion on the inside. And hopefully we can salvage some of these contacts. They look okay from the outside. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wash this off, and I'll be back. Okay, so yeah, all cleaned up, and I think all of the contacts are looking pretty good. I don't think we're going to need to try and replace any of these. They cleaned up rather nicely, and even the wires are still in pretty good shape. So one thing I was worried about was that since these have the positive battery tabs on the side here, is that there might not be enough room for these to fit, but it looks like there's going to be ample amount of room. So that's good news. And yeah, I think the next thing we need to do is go ahead and start building our new battery pack. So I'm going to get out the spot welder, and I don't know, let's see how this goes. All right, so for spot welding these batteries back together, since soldering is not really a great idea on a battery anyways, spot welder will be much quicker, but it'll also be a good bit thinner, so that should help with any clearance issues from these positive battery terminals here. So I have some 4mm by 0.1mm nickel strip, and one of those spot welders. It's a Kerpoo or whatever. I don't know. Just one of those cheap spot welders from Amazon. And yeah, I don't know. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. So what we're going to do is connect a piece of this strip between these two and these two. Of course, I could go the other way. It doesn't matter. And then on the other side, we'll connect two of those terminals so that they are all in series. And that should be it. There was a current limiting thermistor or resistor on the connecting side on this side, but that component was kind of way too damaged. It wasn't working properly anymore. And yeah, I think we'll be fine without it. I'll just kind of keep an eye on the battery when I'm charging it and the Newton. I'm not going to leave it plugged in indefinitely, that's for sure. Just looking to have a working unit with a working battery, and so I think this will be just fine. So let's go ahead and see if we can get those wires soldered in. And of course the zoom is going to be all over the place because I'm going to have stuff right next to the camera and pretty far away. So I don't know, hopefully some of this comes out, but I'm going to go ahead and trim two pieces of this to connect across these terminals, and then we will fold the battery over and put it back inside the case. So yeah, let's get right to it. Okay, I have two little pieces of that terminal strip, so I'm just going to place one just loosely here on top of these two batteries. And nothing to short out right now, at least not yet. And yeah, let's go go ahead and get the spot welder going. And I'll probably do a bunch of little tacks on here and just try to make sure that it's making as good a connection as possible. But it's a pretty low current battery anyways, so I think the thinness of the strip and hopefully any integrity issues with the spot welds don't actually affect the operation. So yeah, let's get right to it. And yep, that beep you hear is the kind of automatic current sensing. So it's a pretty cool feature, is that when you, in a particular mode, when you touch the terminals there, it'll wait a second or two and then it'll go ahead and fire off. So let's keep going. Okay, hopefully that is good on that side, and we're just going to go ahead and repeat that on this negative side. And yeah, I think that is connected. So that is one side of our pack. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around and do the other. Okay, so yeah, there's our terminal strips installed on the these sides of the batteries here. So of course the way the pack will work is that we'll fold these up, and these will just be touching themselves, and you know, so there's not a lot of mechanical strength needed here anyways, but put a good bit of those welds in there, and here, I'll try and get a little bit closer. Certainly not the neatest job there, but hopefully that works. It's kind of one of my first times actually using this tool, and I bought it a long time ago. So yeah, the only other thing to do here is to flip it over and connect two of these batteries together, and this will be the end of the battery that goes all the way to the end of the tray here. Now, of course, make sure that whichever way you have them connected on this side, that you don't accidentally bridge two of the contacts. So I'm going to hold it like this, since I know I'm going to do the strip on the other side horizontally, so I'll allow these to be vertical. So I'm just going to flip the battery over and double check it. But yeah, now all we need to do is connect one strip from here to here. Okay, I believe that strip is now connected, so if we get the voltmeter, we should actually be able to see the pack voltage now across these two terminals. So let's go ahead and check that. So here I have the voltmeter, and yeah, let's give this a check. So we should see approximately 4.8 volts. It could be a little bit less, a little bit higher than that, 5.3. So yeah, I guess the claim that these come fully charged is probably pretty accurate there. But yeah, 5.3 volts, that seems about right. Okay, and then the last little bit of spot welding is we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and spot weld onto terminals, and that should help us connect to the wiring that is inside the pack. So I'm just gonna kind of hold this on with one of these, and yeah, go ahead and get these tacked on there. And yeah, lastly, I'll go ahead and get the positive terminal tacked on here as well. So just hold that on with one of these probes, and hopefully this goes, yep. Okay, I believe these are now on there. So yeah, I mean, they're on there well enough, and it's not like they need a ton of mechanical strength or conductivity, but put an extra few dots on these just to make sure, because I'm going to be messing about with these in the soldering iron, and yeah, that should be our completed pack. So now let's start to see if we can go ahead and get that back into the case here and get these wires back connected, and really that should be about it. Okay, so yeah, now that we have all of these batteries soldered or welded together, think it's time to go ahead and get them back inside this case. So first things first is I'm going to put a couple of pieces of Kapton tape just on these terminals down here. I don't think they're going to be touching anything, but you know, there was tape on them originally, so why not? So I'll take a piece of totally legitimate Kapton tape, a little bit bigger than it was originally, but not a problem. And just kind of layer it down on top of this terminal. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing for this other terminal in here, and it might be a little bit trickier to get into place. Okay, that should be good enough. All right, go ahead and just push that down a little bit. Just like so. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get these batteries apart. And just be really careful with this. We don't want to pull any of those welds apart. Okay. Just gonna leave that like so for a second. And I'm going to get some more Kapton tape and kind of cinch it around these as I fold them out. So first, I think what we're going to want to do is go ahead and just let the inside ones fold down. So I'll just do that like so. And push them together like so. And I'm going to take a piece of Kapton tape and just kind of run it around the cells just to kind of hold them together a little bit. So yeah, that should be good enough there. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but yeah, there's our battery. So let's see if we can go ahead and get the first cells poked in here. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit, and the way I want to do that is to make sure that they can fold up in this direction in case I need to remove this battery again in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and poke these into the plastic like so. All right. And yeah, now the tricky part, of course, is to get the terminals connected back to this side of the battery. So I'm going to lift this thermistor up, and yeah, we need to get this contact connected here and our positive wire connected on the other side. The positive wire should be really easy, but yeah, the other one is going to be a little bit trickier. So let's see. I'll go ahead and trim this terminal a little bit. So it's kind of too long. So it's like so. Okay. And then I'm going to bend the positive terminal over just a little bit and get this part tinned and get the positive wire connected. So first I'll get a little bit of solder here on this side of the terminal. And this is definitely what makes these nickel strips very advantageous, is solder sticks to it very, very well. And instead of stripping this wire, I'm just going to kind of go with the dirty technique of using the iron to melt away the rubber a little bit. That's just because I don't want to deal with trying to get wire strippers in there or you know, peel back or potentially pull this away from the existing terminal. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit with some heat, some solder. Okay, positive wire attached. Looks like it melted away a little bit of the shield, but or the rubber coating there on the wire, but that's okay. It's just gonna fold up here in this edge anyhow. So we'll go ahead and pop the positive down in here, and hopefully this clears. You'll have to use the tweezers here to make sure the wire doesn't actually bind up underneath the battery. So I'm just going to hold it up slightly, let it curve around, and hopefully this will go down in there. Okay, so yeah, there is it's our positive wire connected, and looks like the batteries are indeed clearing the edge of the battery pack here, so that's good news. Let's push that down a little bit, and yeah, that's not going anywhere. So now we just need to fiddle about with the negative side. So now what I need to do is get this so it comes back out right here, and I'm not really sure. Yeah, I guess these, I'm not really sure what the arrangement is of the contacts. These are both, this one's connected to ground, and this one also appears to be connected to ground. So I'm not really sure which one the Newton actually uses as the ground. So we'll just make sure our bases are covered. And yeah, I'll just kind of snake that back inside here. Try to get that facing the way that it needs to be. Okay. Yeah, so that all looks good. So now I think just with mechanical pressure, I don't think I'll actually need to solder the negative side here. I kind of folded this clip, this terminal strip, I kind of folded it a couple of times around here. So I think the springiness of that up against this contact here should be just fine. And yeah, it's normally fine for batteries. The soldering here is probably not entirely necessary, but yeah, let's see. That's going to require a good bit of pressure. So I need to make sure that the thermistor wire actually pokes out on top. So this is going to be rather fiddly, but yeah, hopefully this will work. So I'm just going to push that with a good bit of force, and hopefully get this to clear that terminal. So yeah, this seems to be working. So I'm just going to keep kind of pushing this down in there until it seats firmly. Just going to use the edge of my tweezers here to push that down a little bit. And hey, I think that might be it. We may well be done with just that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the voltmeter out and just test the terminals and just make sure everything is making good contact. Okay, so voltmeter back out. So let's take a look at these contacts. And the way this should read is there should be positive voltage on this terminal, the one that is on the side of the case. And there should be negative here. Oh, look at that, 5.3. And there's a resistor here, so we do see a little bit of a voltage drop. And we will also check the negative terminal that is here on the end of the battery. So I will terminal here and terminal here. Yep, that is perfect. I think our battery is working. So let's go ahead and get the thermistor kind of snaked back into its original location, just like so. And we'll take another piece of Kapton tape just right on top of there. So yeah, just another piece of Kapton tape just right on top of there, a little bit of an overlap. And I'll push that down. And I think that's it. So that should be our totally rebuilt and refurbished Newton 2000 MessagePad battery. So one interesting thing is I'm not sure if I'm actually going to try to get this cover back on here, but we can kind of see how well it will fit back on. So it looks like it would, but there's a little bit of a clearance issue. But I'm not really worried about these batteries falling out. They are in there with quite a bit of pressure. And of course you can't really see anything from the outside. So I'm going to stick this into the Newton and we're about to find out. All right, moment of truth. Newton, battery. Let's find out. So yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to get the battery installed than I hoped. I haven't actually tested it all the way, but I did end up splitting the Kapton tape here. Now that the batteries are installed, I think that'll be fine. It seemed to be kind of jamming up a little bit in there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get the battery in, and it goes in nice and smoothly. So now that it's in, yeah, me being a little bit unfamiliar with the Newton, I think it should, oh, there it goes. It turned right on. So yeah, let's go ahead and do the touchscreen calibration right quick. It should be familiar to any Newton owners or any late PDA owners. But yeah, look at that. It says the battery is at full power. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the backlight on. And I can't really tell that it's even on in the camera. But yeah, so now what I want to do is go ahead and connect the power and just make sure that it says that it's charging. Waiting and charging. And kind of dip back down to the lowest level. So I'm not really sure what that means. I may have to kind of cycle through the battery a few times to learn the characteristics of the pack. But yeah, that is very, very good news. And yeah, I'll go ahead and remove the power again. And yeah, the battery's kind of down at that lower level, but I'm going to go ahead and let this charge and hopefully get a good amount of battery life out of it. I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give it a full charge and see how long it will run on these new batteries and report back. But yeah, I think this is working fantastically. I'm super excited about finally having a Newton free of wires as it was meant to be. So yeah, well, all right. Newton has been charged and it's been running for several hours off of this battery and it's still showing full charge. So that's fantastic. Far cry from the several seconds that we got out of those old corroded batteries. So yeah, I'm going to call this a giant success. Super happy with the way that this turned out. And I'm going to link to the guide that I originally was looking at for this on PDA Soft. It does kind of go into a lot of kind of further technical detail about some of the inner workings here. Has the pinout for the battery if you're interested in that kind of a thing. But yeah, I think this went fantastically, and wow, I'm really excited to get to actually play around with the Newton here and try out a bunch of cards and find out exactly what makes this thing so quirky, and boy howdy is it quirky. But yeah, I think that's going to about do it, and really appreciate you taking a look. Hope that if you like this kind of thing, you consider liking and subscribing to this video. Definitely have some more shenanigans up in the future with the Newton and any of the other things that we've kind of covered in the past. But yeah, for now, I think that'll about do it. So, bye.